Surah Al-Fatiha, Explanation and Translation. Introduction. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Welcome to this enlightening discussion on Surah Al-Fatiha, the opening chapter of the Quran and the most recited surah in our daily prayers. It is a surah that holds deep meaning, guiding us in our faith and life. Today, we will explore its translation, explanation, and tafsir, uncovering its wisdom step by step. Let's begin. Verse 1. Translation. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Explanation. This verse reminds us that every action should begin with Allah's name. Rahman, most gracious, and Rahim, most merciful, show that Allah's mercy is infinite. The Prophet said, every important task that does not begin with Bismillah remains incomplete. Abu Dawood. Verse 2:1. Translation. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. Explanation. Alhamdulillah teaches us gratitude, thanking Allah for everything. Rabbul Alameen means Allah is the Lord of all creation, humans, angels, animals, and the entire universe. Tafsir Ibn Kathir states, this verse establishes that all forms of praise belong to Allah alone, as He is the creator and sustainer. Verse 3:30. Translation. The most gracious, the most merciful. Explanation. This verse repeats Allah's mercy to emphasize its vastness. Allah's Rahman, mercy, extends to all believers and non-believers in this world, but in the hereafter, His mercy will be for the believers. Verse 4:1. Translation. Master of the Day of Judgment. Explanation. This reminds us that Allah alone controls the Day of Judgment. Every action will be judged, and true justice will be served. The Prophet said, a wise person is one who prepares for the hereafter. Tirmidhi. Verse 5:1. Translation. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. Explanation. This verse teaches Tawheed, oneness of Allah, only Allah deserves worship. It also reminds us to seek help and guidance from Allah alone. Ibn Taymiyyah explains, true servitude is when a believer relies solely on Allah in all matters. Verse 6:1. Translation. Guide us to the straight path. Explanation. This is a dua, supplication, asking Allah for guidance. The straight path, Sirat al-Mustaqim, is the path of Islam, the Quran, and the Sunnah. The Prophet said, the straight path is the path of Allah, leading to Jannah. Ahmad. Verse 7:1. Translation. The path of those whom you have favored, not of those who earned your anger, nor of those who go astray. Explanation. The favored people, the prophets, righteous people, and true believers. Those who earned Allah's anger, people who knew the truth but rejected it, e.g., some among the Jews. Those who went astray, people who followed falsehood due to ignorance, e.g., some among the Christians. Conclusion and reflection. Host. Surah Al-Fatiha is more than just words, it is a prayer, a guide, and a lesson for every believer. It teaches us to praise Allah, seek His guidance, and stay on the righteous path. We recite this surah in every prayer, reminding ourselves of its deep wisdom. May Allah grant us the ability to follow the straight path and keep us away from misguidance. Ameen. Soft fade out with closing visuals of the Quran and a glowing mosque.